the club. Hey, this is the second orientation meeting for R622. And if you got my email, which came 5 minutes ago, you got the new syllabus with it. I mistakenly sent that email to the class from last fall. So the fall of 2022 students are now reading that syllabus with envy because they're seeing the guests that we have in this class, 15 weeks with guests, and it keeps expanding. I got another person booked today, in fact, just before we came on the air here. So this is R622 Designing Learning Environments, or Learning Environments Design, however you would like to say it. There is no one deemed book for this class. There could be one. I'm not sure if anyone who taught this course before has used a book. Dr. Brush has taught this course many times, and Dr. Parker has taught it. I started doing it last fall, and as I mentioned to the Monday night class, I think that learning theory is best represented by learning environments, because really all learning environments involve behaviorism, cognitivism, social learning theory, connectivistic, maybe, social cultural theory, social historical theory, social learning theory from Bandura, pretty much everything, cognitive behavior modification. I used cognitive behavior modification on myself all the time. That explains a lot, Bo says. Instead of going to Johan, I think we need to go to Bo first. So my name's Curt Bonk. I'm the instructor in this class. I've been in Indiana a long time, and I'm in IST right now, and this is one of the courses that is required for certain programs. Others, it's an elective. For most of you, it's an elective kind of course. It's kind of an umbrella course. It can be kind of a foundational course. If you look at the literature we're covering in this course, it's similar to 511, kind of walks out of 511 and 711, which is the readings course. 511 is the foundations course. 622, if you took all three courses, you probably understand almost everything that's going on in the past, present, and the future of instructional systems technology, or learning design and technology. We're going to change our department name. We're going to change our program name in the coming year. So we are the Department of Instructional Systems Technology. We're also the program in Instructional Systems Technology. The department includes adult ed and learning science and IST. So the department name will change to Learning Design and Adult Education. The program name will change from IST to Learning Design and Technology at some point, because they first have to pass all the political tests that are required to have a name change. To change your name requires a lot of people voting and reading and making you fill out forms. I've done 3 orientations already this week. This is number 4. And I admittedly was running out of gas last night with number 3. So I don't think we'll make it a long orientation. I will say that the recording from Monday night is up there in the cloud. So I've recorded Mondays 1 hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours. I don't want to repeat all that I said on Monday, but I will repeat some things, the basics of the course. And I'll get to your questions maybe a little earlier than I've done in the previous 3 nights, and let maybe the students kind of run this orientation once I do some of the basics. But Bo, you took this course last year as a guinea pig of my classes, and you've had other courses with me. And Bob's here just visiting. He took a course with me a bit ago. He might give you some advice on taking my courses as well. Are you in San Diego, Bob, or in Hawaii?
Wow, you've got a very good memory. Holy Toledo. I'm in San Diego, but I do go back and forth to Hawaii for work, which will pick up right around the Labor Day.
Do you have business in Maui?
You know, Maui College, yes, Maui College is part of a different accrediting district, so I don't do a lot of work with them. I mainly work on the Big Island and the other islands. But I'm sure that is such a significant area because of the, the family feel there.
Yeah. You want to tell people for, 30 seconds what you do, Bob? And then we'll go over to Bo.
Well, I worked in community colleges. I was a tenured faculty member, then became a dean, and now I'm retired, but do work in coaching and consulting. I'm doing more and more work in workplace settings. So learning is, being seen increasingly in the workplace is vitally important. And I'm here through the kindness of Professor Bonk, who I've actually taken 2 classes from. So my advice is that you'll hold on with both hands, but you'll learn a lot, and you will gather a bunch, and you'll find him a very fair and thorough grader. I've never had my papers read and graded like he's done. And the fact that he remembers that I'm in San Diego and work in Hawaii, I haven't seen him in a couple of years, attests to his memory and care of the students. So have a great semester, everybody. I'm just eavesdropping. I'm not in the course.
So I know that at least I'm not losing it yet, but week 6, Bob, we have learning environments and the workplace. So perhaps you can lend some insight when we get to that week and we talk to our guest for that week. We're going to talk to, hopefully I'll have Jihan Osman, a former student of mine from Egypt, who I will see in Egypt the following week. And Jihan is now the Senior Advisor of Teaching and Learning Innovations for the British University in Egypt, but she's worked in corporate settings. She's worked for the business school at American University of Cairo. And I think we can talk to her about a lot of stuff. I have other colleagues at American University of Cairo we could bring in as well, but I might wait till I get to Egypt the following week and do that. In fact, I know I'm going to meet with the other people the following week. But Bob will definitely provide us some insights. The week before, Bob, we're going to have one of the most famous people in the field is Dr. Chris Tiede from Harvard, who grew up in Milwaukee like I did. He's a futurist, and he's an AI person, an immersive worlds person, just thinking about the future of education and scalability and the 60-year curriculum. He's got a book on the 60-year curriculum. He's got books on engineering education, lots of stuff. And teacher training. He's probably the biggest name, or one of the biggest names in the field. And he just kind of not retired, but he stepped into a research role. He's no longer a professor teaching class. He might teach 1 or 2, but he's strictly on a $20 million AI grant right now that he's in charge of. That's a big deal. And again, he's one of my 3 podcast partners every Saturday at silverliningforlearning.org. Last Saturday, we had people from Ukraine, or one person from Ukraine, talk about near the front lines, talk about education in Ukraine. That was a fascinating session. And before that, we've had people from Facebook and UNESCO and the World Bank and Google for Education, and educators in Australia who are trying to transform schools, educators in China who are trying to transform schools, South America, Chile, Brazil, Italy, Korea, Japan, all over the world in Silver Lining for Learning. I could go through specific shows, but we actually wrote up a paper on it that summarized kind of what happened in the first year. We're in year 4 now. We thought we'd stop when COVID would be over. COVID would end in 1 month. So my friend Young Zhao said, let's start a podcast show. And it only lasts 2 months. COVID will be over. Here we're 3.5 years later, and we're still in the midst of it's over now, but we're still running. We're still running. In fact, I ran the first day. I jogged the first day before the first podcast episode, and I'm still running. I think today is 1,251 days in a row I've been running. And so that's how long ago we started the show, the podcast show. And one of your assignments, you could watch several episodes and write a reflection paper on what people are saying in Silver Lining for Learning in terms of educational reform kinds of issues. You may or may not have heard of Quality Matters, which is an accreditation or assessment or for online courses. And we had the presidents and vice presidents in from Quality Matters a little over a year ago to chat with them about quality online courses. I've added a few articles in here and added quite a few guests about the psychology of online learning. And there's a whole special issue in the Educational Psychologist on the psychology components of online learning. And I've moved that up. Just last night, the students on Monday voted to move that week. So we moved week 15 up to week 11. And so if you've signed up in the moderator form for a particular week, you might check it now, because we're going to move that. If you sign up for week 11, 12, 13, 14, or 15, you now are in a different week. Your name will float to a different week. So and I'll remind you later on the semester as well. So I guess the main things to do for the first week of this class, get involved in some of the discussions that are already happening. And I will say, that the one thing that surprised me in my syllabus when I went through it on Monday was the quality and depth of the readings on week one. I selected, or Dr. Brush, when he taught this course, selected, or somebody selected, there's some pretty good readings in week one, foundational kinds of stuff. And so normally I wouldn't want you reading that much. So only read about 3 articles a week in any week. You can read 4, you can read 5 if you want to. The minimum is 3, and then get involved in the discussions. Now, I only have one discussion forum for this class and right now there's 17 people. One person, I think Claudio has added this course, so it's 18 or 19. That's a lot of people in one discussion forum. We may need to break it into 2 discussion forums, but let's see how this goes. Bo and I will be giving you feedback and Bo's already been in. He can talk about what he's seen so far in the discussion forums. So the only thing for this week is to sign up the moderator form and then to go to Padlet. So I'll show you Padlet here in a little bit and make your introduction so that maybe you can get matched up with someone who has similar interests to you and do a couple of the assignments. I think it's assignment 4 that builds into assignment 5. 4 is kind of a skeleton, a little piece of you're going to create a learning environment, and 5 is a more fully fleshed out. So I want you to do that with a partner, and so those 2 are with a partner, but one's at midterm, one's in the final. The other 2 assignments you can, or you have a choice of working with a partner. It could be 1 or 2 partners, or you can work alone. And if on the bigger assignment, the skeleton 4 and 5, if you're living in Maui or somewhere, in Hawaii, you don't have time to work with a partner, just let me know that your schedule will not allow you to work with a partner. Or you hate people. No, I'm just kidding. No one hates people working with people. But so, there's some things that even surprise me, and it's my syllabus. So, that's why we're here to discuss it. Bo, would you like to tell us who you are and where you are? And what you've seen so far in the class. Oh, you're muted, Bo.
There we go. My name is Bo Scott. This is my 3rd year in the IST Ed.D. program, and I had the benefit of taking this class last fall, taking another one of Dr. Bonk's classes in the spring last year as well. And so when he asked me to TA for one of the courses, he let me pick between the 2 that I liked, and I definitely chose this one. Just thanks to all of the unique guest speakers that we have each week. And it was really cool actually when I did open up the syllabus this year and saw that he had gotten completely different individuals from last year. Although I did notice, Dr. Bonk, there is an opening there in week 14. Is that possibly? Yeah. Okay. So that was good. We the individual that he had last year, Mr. Ray Schroeder, I'm hoping that you might be able to get him again. So he did a great job, and really piqued my interest in AI, and had a great conversation with him. So it was awesome. I'm really looking forward to another good semester here. What he was referencing in my location was that I'm kind of up north in Indiana towards Purdue country. Actually, I'm in Purdue country. I can walk to campus from my house probably. Dr. Bonk, you will be interested in hearing this. One of my teammates, she is currently in the PhD program at Purdue, and she is in a class right now that is entitled Learning Environments. And their syllabus, we got to compare those today, did not look nearly as exciting as ours. So I'm excited about this semester here because of that. So would you like me to go ahead and drop the Padlet into the chat window right now? You want me to pause on that for
please.
a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Drop that in here. There we go.
Can take that with you, and maybe if you're not filling out right now, but at least fill it out after class, and you'll see some characters. You should put last year's Padlet up there. I could do that, I guess, let me put
if you have that link available. But hey, I did want to say though, between today and Monday, we have 20 out of the 23 individuals in the course who have attended the synchronous sessions. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of people. So that's another
Yeah.
thing where I'm trying something new. So if you attend 10 or more of these synchronous sessions, you don't have to do the asynchronous discussion. So I want you to benefit from attending these. You can, by all means, you'll probably want to go into a couple, but you don't have to worry about it because you get your automatic points for participation from attending just, and even if you attend all 10 and don't see a single word, have your camera turned off, it doesn't matter. Just be here for the 10 sessions. So it's a, you know, I set it's at the floor. I want you to go above the floor, you know, and so a couple of things, Bo, that Bo mentioned. Do you know the instructor at Purdue that's teaching environments, the environments course? I could
Alicia
contact them.
Johnson.
It rings a bell. Okay, why don't you shoot me that syllabus, and maybe we can get her class and our class to do something, maybe 1 week where we do a joint debate or something.
I was going to actually ask you if my teammate would ever be able to hop on and some of our Zoom sessions, if you'd be cool with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there's a few people have jumped in. Lena's a visiting scholar from China. She'll introduce herself in a little bit. She just arrived last week with your daughter.
Yes, with my daughter, and just moved into the new apartment last weekend. So I'm still, put some furniture in and supplement daily necessities.
So tell people what you do, Lena, back in China.
Okay. I'm from Hefei city, Hefei, and Hefei Normal University. And in my university, the graduates will become middle school teachers. And I'm from the English department. So the graduates in the department will become the middle school English teachers. And I'm interested in AI-based language teaching. And I did a lot of teaching practice. My course is in the blended teaching form. And also during the pandemic, I also teach with my MOOC. And there are about more than 1,000 students learning in my MOOC course.
Wow.
But about more than 1,000 during the pandemic. And after that, I also do some teaching online and also the blended teaching. So I think I need to learn more about those the theories and the research about online learning and blended teaching and blended learning. And that's why I come here to Professor Bonk's courses. I think I can gain more. And but to be frank, at the beginning, last Sunday when I attended Professor Bonk's first orientation, and I see the syllabus, I feel very stressful. I think, so many tasks, so many reading materials. How can I do? That's why I wrote the email to you, Professor Bonk, this morning. But then you told me that as the visiting scholar, I can enjoy my learning process without doing so many tasks. Then I feel that's good. I can enjoy the learning journey. And also, I'd like to say thanks to Professor Bonk and give me a lot of suggestions on the learning and also the courses. I hope that in the future I can, join all those discussions and try to read more of those materials. And also one more thing, I think I gained a lot when I saw those syllabus, those things designed by Professor Bonk. I think I can also learn that kind of style and forms. Maybe in the future, when I go back to China, I can, do some similar things like that. It's very good for the students to know those things before they become the new course.
Right. So, I'll point out any visiting scholars watching this recording, if you're in Canvas wanting to post a discussion, I put you as an observer. I'm not sure if it allows you to do much I'll change your role to TA or something. So I'll make sure if you want to put input into the Canvas in the discussions, I want to make sure you do. I met Lena when I gave a talk to China a few months ago, and she wrote me questions during my, I think I had I had 25 people in the Zoom audience, and so they were at the end. I was the last speaker, and so I was making faces at the camera because I thought everybody's sleeping, but they were awake. And then, so I was going like this, and all of a sudden, at the end of my talk, they announced that there were 7,500 people in the talk. I was going, and it was a joint conference between Spain and Cyprus and China or something like that. But Lena told me she read my World is Open book, which has been translated to Chinese and done better in China than it's done in the US. Many people in China have read my handbook of blended learning because I was interviewed about this book when it first came out. So there's been many connections between my work and China's work. The one to point out is this book's available in Chinese for free and English for free. It's called Adding Tech Variety. Go to my homepage or just type in Tech Variety. Since Bob took my class, there's been a new version, kind of spin out, shorter version that came out last September, along with a free class. It's called Motivating Learners Online or something like that. So if you go to my homepage, you can get 2 free books plus a special issue of a journal of the research in online learning we just came out with. So there's a couple of free things that you can get. My latest book, Transformative Teaching Around the World, to do with Mena Ju, is on that 546 course that Bob took with me on Saturdays. I had 40 people write short chapters on how they use the content of the class back in their countries, from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, China, from Rwanda, from Korea, from Indonesia, Malaysia, all 22 countries, Cyprus. We found out on Thursday last week that Maine and I will get an award at ACT for the book. So that's kind of a nicety that's coming. I hope to be able to teach that course. I haven't taught it since Bob took the course with me. I haven't been able to teach that or R678 Emerging Technologies, Emerging Learning Technologies. I'm going to try and do one of those courses in the spring and one in the fall, if the powers that be let me do those. So, Bo, we didn't pay. Yeah, it's a good, the Saturday class is really an enjoyable class. It's a community. It's a global community that's usable content. It's a theory to practice, but it's really emphasized practice, critical thinking, creative thinking, cooperative learning, motivation, and tech integration. And I've been doing it for decades, I hate to say. And so you eventually have to have something, of substance in there. My advisors at Wisconsin were creativity experts, one was, and the other one was a critical thinking expert. And we designed a course for teachers on critical thinking that was nationally syndicated as I was a grad student. And I got interested in critical and creative thinking and collaborative learning, cooperative learning, and motivation. Bo, did you finish introducing yourself?
I think so. I think I'm
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Why don't you tell them what you do in your day job?
Oh, it's kind of hard to describe actually. Sometimes, well, the easiest way to describe it is just I do consulting work. I'm a director of STEM learning for a consultant company here in Indiana, and we work with schools across the state, and kind of trying to expand out into other states now, supporting them in the development of their STEM programming. And we actually had a very exciting thing happen the other day. This past year, one of the schools that I've been working with in Gary, Indiana, for about 2 or 3 years now, they became STEM certified through the Indiana Department of Education, but they also just won an Educational Excellence Award for the work in STEM instruction that they're doing. And I don't know how familiar all of you are, but Gary, Indiana it's a pretty rough inner city, very impoverished area. And
where Michael Jackson was born.
That's right. I got to go to his house the last time I was up there. It was good to see. Yeah. But yeah, it was amazing just to see some of the transformations that we're making take place. So yeah, good stuff.
So a couple of things I'll mention. This is the second iteration of the course for me. You really don't develop a course you're really solid or comfortable till the third time through. But the first 2 times through, you can be more creative and spontaneous and find things and do things that you didn't plan to do. You become less robot-like. So we're still in the creative mode here for a class, okay? So while we're in the creative mode, though, some things get ripped up and thrown away, and we decide not to use them anymore. They don't work. So, you know, some tasks we have in here, some things we do, they might not work as well as what I had hoped, and that's okay. I can tweak them and try them again next time. I would think that last fall, most things did work, but I didn't maybe set the bar quite high enough last time in terms of the final projects, in terms of really inspiring me with what you create and having us share those. And we didn't do as much sharing as we could have. So I've saved 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks, for sharing in this course so that everyone can learn what each other has done. I think that's one piece that, and Bo would probably agree with me, that was missing a bit last year, is that, you know, we do a project, I'd grade them, give feedback, but there would be no cross-fertilization of ideas. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And actually, it was funny after Monday's session, you challenged me to remember what my project was in the fall last year, and I could not remember. And so I did go back and I checked it out, and it was actually kind of cool. I was pretty excited to what Christian and I made. So yeah.
Tell us in a nutshell what that project was that you did, your final project.
So my partner for the project, his name was Christian. One of the things I liked about this class so much was I made a friend. And
yeah, well,
and
Bob knows Christian. He was in the Saturday class too. So
yeah. Oh yeah, Christian had referenced the Saturday class quite a few times. So
we dressed up for Halloween for that Saturday class.
That's right. You did. Oh yes, you did, and Christian did. You're the two that stuck out. There were others, but yeah, you two. So what did you guys do?
So we ended up creating a learning environment that we called HAMS, and it was hazard augmentation mitigation system. And what this was like it was supposed to be a training tool that electricians could utilize in their coursework in becoming electricians. But we were also thinking that it had potential application to be utilized in scanning job sites for potential hazards as the electricians would be going in. One of the reasons that we were really interested in this was because the field that electricians are in, it's one of the more dangerous ones in the industrial industries. And so we thought that this was a really, kind of ingenious idea. Christian, I believe, is wanting to conduct some form of research on this and utilize this for his dissertation work down the road as well. So that's exciting.
Yeah, Christian's been my TA 3 semesters in a row. I gave him this semester off. And I said, Bo, would you like to come here? So if you look at the moderator list, I'll pull it up in a little bit. It's full already. It's full. Every slot is picked, and that's this semester I'm noticing right away, students are very committed, very dedicated, very organized, and on time. All the sessions have been pretty full of students. I mean, really, almost everyone has shown up here and has shown up for the other class as well, which is unlike last spring in one of my classes, in both my classes. But anyways, my point is there'll be a third column for those who can't fill this in, who can't fit their name in. We'll add a column for you. I'll also point out we have 3 weeks where we have AI people this semester. We had 1 week last year when Bo took it. We've got a lot of AI stuff. I've got 2 articles published in the last month on AI for language learning. One was published yesterday. So I will maybe try and create a talk with one of my team members, my research team, summarizing our research on AI that we've done. We are interviewing YouTubers who use ChatGPT to teach languages. And YouTubers are fun people, a lot of fun. Let me see if there's anything else. So the time for this, so the synchronous meetings will be around usually Mondays, sometimes it's Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday. There's one on a Thursday at about 7 o'clock most time. We have 2 guests from Europe, one from the Netherlands, one from Denmark. We have two kind of famous people from Europe. One of them coined the word learning experience design. The guy who started the trend in learning experience design was on my podcast show. His name is Niles Floor. He agreed to come on November 6th. The other person is coming, I think it's Claudio or something like Claudio. I'll find his name in a little bit. He's coming to talk to us about architecture. We have a famous creative architect from Denmark, and he's got really cool stuff So, his name it is Claudio with a K though, instead of a
Yeah.
C. So it's Claudio Mucca. He's a research and development architect. So yeah, so he contacted me a year ago to, about maybe joining a class. We couldn't make it work last year when Bo took it. So I found his email, I wrote to him, and he said, sure, he'd like to come in and talk to us what his center does. So we have some pretty cool people. I probably should call up just to avoid going. Let's move away. We'll come back to Johan. We'll have you introduce yourself, Emmanuel, Claudio. But first, let me show you a little bit here of this course. So let me hit the share button, and let me well, I can just go right there. So if you go into Padlet, you can see some of the students who are in this class, including Michelle, who started with my classes last year. She's new to IST. Johan, you've been in here already. Okay, great. You're from Anhui, China, but in Boston.
The same, I think that's the same place where Lena comes from.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that. Same hometown.
Okay. What's your hometown known for?
My hometown or her hometown? Our hometown, we live in the same province, but
know.
not the same city.
Oh, okay. So what's your hometown known for?
Yellow Mountain.
Yellow Mountain.
The province is famous for Yellow Mountain.
Okay. So anything else?
Some delicious food. Someday you can go there.
So my city is known for delicious German food. I'm from Milwaukee, and it's also known for beer. So you can't get into conversation without beer. But those are some of the people in this class that were here on Monday night. Sao Hao has taken many classes with me. Rachel is my student. Lucy Mello is a graduate. We have a couple people who graduated and have their doctorates helping me in the other course, but they'll come into 622 as well. Lucy is among those. She's down in Florida. She's from Brazil originally. And you can see others that are in this class as well. Some are new. Christy's from Western Michigan. She's a professor of counseling and psychology up there in Michigan. Boy, we got a lot of people posting here. That's great. If we go to the list here, that's there. Hello? Oh, I've hit the wrong button, didn't I? Okay, there we go. Hang on a second. Okay, there we go. There's Bo last year, and Tiana's asked to join again, and then Christian's on the right. We have Megan and so forth. Yeah, so this is last year's group. Anyway, so that's all linked in from the syllabus. If you go to the syllabus, you can just click on that and go to, the Padlet page, and it just clicks right there, and you're on the Padlet page. If you want to, if you forget any links, they're somewhere. You can also go to Dropbox. So if you go to Dropbox for this class, you'll see that all the articles you can download, they're all right there off the Dropbox link. So don't buy any books. These are all right there. And my other class, 511, also has a Dropbox link for free books and other things. And then by last name. So these are indexed by the last name of the first author. So if you're looking for Bonk, they're down a little ways. There's one article from me, I guess, in the list. Might be more. Dr. Brush is in here as well. Dr. Dady, you'll see in there. So yeah, some interesting articles, I think, I hope, that you'll like and that you'll be able to use within this class. So
Dr. Bonk, I was just wondering, your recently published ones, do you make those available to students, or is that something that we need to wait on?
So the fortunate thing on the two AI articles, they're both published in open access journals. And so I can make those. So make a note, and after class, send me an email to add them. And also in that same email, have me do a double check of I have the most current articles in the Dropbox. I noticed one may be missing, so we'll want to check. Then I have my rubrics for evaluating your work. So there's a rubric in here. You can click on it and see what's what that has in it, what's in the rubric, or what I'm looking for, what questions I'm going to ask, and so forth. Now, I don't have examples of prior student work, but I could try and find some and put them in as well, because I only taught this course once, so I don't have as many examples. And there's also templates for your final project. So there's a template in here that Dr. Brush created that I modified. And so that's available for you to take a look at, that learning environment analysis template, okay? So I've got the articles, the templates, the rubrics, and the syllabus are all in Dropbox for you to use. So that's all linked off of my homepage. You can go to my course page. You can go to Canvas as well in here, as you notice. We've got a link to Canvas right off of there, and it's going to jump in. And here you get the syllabus. You can get the assignments. It'll tell you what the due dates are, and you can upload. So I want people uploading their assignments to the Dropbox. And so there's a Dropbox in Canvas, and each assignment is explained in terms of what I'm expecting you to do. The discussions are in here too, and then we may have, have people been discussing so far?
I think 3 or 4 comments have been made so far.
Great.
Oh, 4, yeah, there we go.
So if you come in here, you'll see Evans, the moderator. He's from the Coast Guard. I said moderators in week 1, have the easiest job. So he jumped right in and became the moderator to get his automatic 40 points or something like that. And you can see after Evan, wow, okay, I need to jump in.
He did a great job.
Bo jumped in. Well, great that Evan did. And Christy, my doc student. Johan's been in here. Great. All right. So we had 4 people have been in here, including you, Bo. 5, including me. And then Kaltura. So if you want the orientation from last time, it's in Kaltura. It's right there. So you can watch last time's orientation, which is this time is being run a bit different. And also, if you want to see the people in this class, you just click on the people button. And some people have their picture IDs, so you can see what they look like as well as you want. It has their email address. So it's basically that username at iu.edu. So you've got everyone's email. I'll send you a note with everyone's email as well. But if you want to know what people look like, click on the photo roster and you get a sense of that as well. It's taking a little bit to call that up. There's Emmanuel, Carol, Sahal, myself, Linda. So Yan Huan Hyo is a visiting scholar too. Her name's Alicia. And she'll probably jump in here and join us. There's Lena's in there, and Bo's in there, and Jill's another visiting scholar. So a bunch of visiting scholars came this semester, which is a good sign that COVID is over, right? There are announcements in here, and I guess, Bo, every announcement goes automatically to your email, so I don't have to duplicate them, right, Bo? So, their important links will be in the announcements section as well, as you notice in here. So that's basically it for Canada. The grade book is there, and there's a chat tool in there. My homepage, as I said, if you click on free down here below my picture, free special issue, free book, or go to the right and look for the Adding Tech Variety book, you have 3 free things in here that you could grab. Also, every one of my talks that I've done are in here under, if you look in here under talks that I give and just click, and you can see the talk I gave to some Koreans a couple weeks ago. I gave to China a couple weeks ago. I gave to Thailand. Each one is in here. Princess Songla University, Thailand. Addis Ababa University in Ethiopia. We did a talk this summer to math educators in Ethiopia. Never did that before. So we try and index it and make them available. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Dallas, Texas for the U.S.-Korea 36th Annual Conference on Entrepreneurship, Science, and Technology. And that talk is in there as well. It's time to wake up from our innovative learning dreams and make smarter learning a reality. So that's up there as well. Anyway, so my talks, my free articles, everything that's free is available under this year. It's available under the articles link. So I try and provide resources. If you are looking for journals, if you click on resources here, I didn't show this to the Monday night class. If you click on resources and you want to know where to publish something, I've got a list of pretty much every journal in the field and an explanation of what that journal covers. So if you would like to know about the British Journal, which is a pain in the butt, they're making me change things 6 times. I had to, and they still haven't accepted it yet. And every time we make the change, they find 2 more things they want to change. It's driving me, my student and I, crazy, former student. So if you go to the British Journal, you can read good stuff. It's a top tier journal. So it all linked. It's all linked. British Journal or ETR&D or the Canadian Journal of Learning and Technology, Computers in the Schools, every Distance Ed, all these are journals that you can access through this website. So, you know, you have a favorite journal in the field, Bo?
No, not in particular. I'm just I was going to make a comment actually about the resources and the journal articles that you make available to us, though. If you can download those and save those and curate them in some way on your own, like I've been trying to actively be doing that, and it's been a great resource, not just for Dr. Bonk's class, but utilizing them for other courses, and then eventually dissertation work, if that's you know, what any of you are leading into as well. And there's just so many of them that he's made available to us, which is great.
So this is ETR&D. I edited a special issue of that 3 years ago. Most recently, I edited a special issue of the Online Learning Journal, OLJ, and I'll be at their conference in October, Online Learning Accelerate in DC. They made the stupid mistake to give me an award, so I have to go. Anyway, so Online Learning Journal, great journal. Everything's free. You can, you know, in this, and they have an association you can join, conferences you can go to from the Online Learning Journals. It's a free journal. So not only you have that, so that's linked under high quality resource. The second thing in here is if you want a job, I've got a portal for all jobs, so you can click on them. Some of these links might be dead now. I'm not sure if they all will work, but most of them should work. So you can go to the different job portals out here and see what jobs exist, you know, and sign up to get alerts and other kinds of things. So yeah, there's like 20, 35 different portals to find jobs. Maybe you want to go through LinkedIn. I'm not sure if this works, but let's see. And we can find ed tech jobs through LinkedIn or instructional design jobs through LinkedIn. It's all there. The third thing that you'll find in here that I didn't show Monday night class, if you don't like IU and you'd like to major in a different program, I've got all the competing programs and IU in here as well. All that I'm including Indiana University and Johns Hopkins and George Mason and Purdue and Hawaii, Houston. All these are linked in here as well. Again, some of these might be dead links now. They come and go. Yeah, so there we have a dead link from Houston. I'll have to have my assistant check on that. But you know, you've got a lot of choices here in programs that you can go to. There's the University of Hawaii, my good friends in learning design and technology at Hawaii.
I think you should take Purdue off the list just for fun.
Maybe so, maybe so. So we should go back to the syllabus for a few minutes. I'm not going to go, whoops, that's the 511 syllabus. I'm not going to go on, you know, every aspect of the syllabus. And by the way, if you do click on this free book, this new, let's see, where's the link to the new, not only we have a free book, but there's a free course. So if you want to learn how to motivate learners online, my friends at the Commonwealth of Learning in Vancouver have created a free class based on that book with myself and Elaine Coe, who wrote the book. So it takes about 250 hours. 500 people have gone through so far. They're hoping to help a lot of teachers out in the developing world or the global south from that free class. So we go back to the syllabus now. You know, there's objectives that are listed. There are the weeks of the semester with the guest speakers tentatively on the side. So next week, Dr. Sunny Zhang is coming from TrueLeap. She's a professor. She got her degree at Indiana in the business school and created a company with her husband called TrueLeap, which is developing a course management system for the developing world, for people who can't afford it. And she's going to offer you a chance to do your final project on TrueLeap instead of something else. So, you know, you're going to offer maybe a team of people might do evaluation of the TrueLeap system and give them some recommendations. So that's next weekend here. And Paul Kim, my good close friend in Stanford, has developed the SMILE project, Stanford Mobile Inquiry Learning Environment. It evaluates the levels of questions kids ask, and it also generates questions at different levels. It's got an AI tool behind it. And Paul's a big AI person. He'll talk a bit about AI. He's just flying back from Europe, I think, that day, so he might be a bit tired when he comes to our class. And that class is going to be earlier than the normal class, or later. It's going to be an hour later than the normal class because I think he gets back in that afternoon. So an hour later, anyhow. But yeah, Paul has done things to help people in Honduras, Mexico, who don't have teachers. He's created the Pocket School project, where the teachers in your pocket. He's developed all sorts of things. My son went with him to Tanzania and to Argentina on the SMILE project to get kids to interact and ask questions with each other and to increase literacy skills. He's been working with blind students in India, in Dominican Republic, to get, you know, the same systems to try and get students to learn in different ways. In week 5, we have Chris Dede from Harvard, as I mentioned. We have Danielle McNamara from Arizona State in week 4. She's from a lab that's trying to engineer education in new ways. Arizona State has lots of innovative things happening. Jihan Osman, who will be giving me a tour around Cairo on Saturday, September 20 or somewhere in there. And then that day I might interview her for this class. She's an alum of IST program. Tracy Birdwell and her colleagues are studying active learning at Indiana in the Mosaic project, active learning project at Indiana. She's going to talk about the research findings of the active learning project and also show us some active learning spaces. My friend, Dr. Ron Ostin, the former dean of York University in Toronto, has sort of retired, but they took him back out of retirement to help in creating an AI tool. My friends at Contact North in Ontario, Canada, near Toronto, have developed an AI tutoring tool, and Dr. Ostin is going to show us it. It's still in beta. It's still being built, though, so it's going to be a new thing. Not many people have seen it. I've got the list of what it can do, and it's pretty amazing. Contact North is trying to help provide training to people in remote parts of Canada, so Indigenous people in the northern parts of Canada who normally don't have education. That's what that's what Contact North is providing. He's a research scholar with Contact North. I'm a research scholar with Contact North. He does presentations that are free on teaching online for Contact North. So do I. So we're doing, Dr. Ostin and I are doing a lot of similar things. That's in week 8. In week 9, the architect I mentioned is coming in from Denmark. In week 10, I'm not sure if we'll have Dr. Jubin from Central Florida. We're probably going to have someone else. We're probably going to have Dr. Peter Shea from the University of Albany talk about his article about community of inquiry model of teaching online. So I'm probably going to be changing that a bit. And then week 12, we're going to have the next president of AECT, the Association for Educational Communications and Technology, my friend Joy Moore. She's a professor at Missouri, University of Missouri. She's just became the president-elect of AECT. She's going to talk about one of her articles that I've assigned. And on week 12, we're going to hear from a few people. That's changing. The week 12, we're going to have multiple people actually on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I think. And so some of this has changed a bit. Lydia Chow is going to talk about spaces to help the Earth education or Earth spaces. So it's kind of like a green spaces, I think. And Lydia's a postdoc at Harvard. She's a friend of mine. She comes to my podcast show pretty much every week. Christine Greenow agreed today, but changed the date She studies social media and she studies informal learning, but she just wrote with 2 others an article about how to teach online, and she's going to focus on that as well. So got a lot of good speakers coming in. Here are the due dates and the points and so forth. 2 things will be due a little earlier this semester on September 18th. 2 things are due on November 30th. Those are the main things that you have in this class. I like a 2+2 model, just like the Saturday class. 2 things were due in week 5, 2 things were due in week 8. Well, this is very similar. However, I've changed from last year. I gave 5, if Bo remembers, I gave 7-day grace periods, 5-day grace. Some people I gave 14 days. So this year I'm giving 2-day grace periods. So you can turn in anything 2 days late and no points taken off. If you're sick, if your son or daughter is in soccer camp or taking, whatever you need to do, you can ask for another day. It's just, if I do not get things in fairly promptly, my schedule is going to be all messed up and it'll be weeks before I give you feedback. So I'm trying to get things in so I can grade them when I'm on planes. I'm being honest. I'm going to be grading these on a plane ride to Egypt and then on the plane ride home. So I want to use my time wisely. As they say in Raiders of the Lost Ark, choose wisely. So you'll see a plagiarism, copyright issue. I trust you. And in fact, I've got assignments in my other class where I'm telling students to use ChatGPT to develop the paper and then write a critique on what ChatGPT did from your perspective. In this class, you can quote from ChatGPT and so forth. That's okay. So the other thing I'll point out, last year's guests, I saved. And we had great guests last fall, including Soon-May Sol from Stanford, who developed the SMILE project with Paul Kim. She was my TA many times, like Christian was, and she finally graduated this summer. I told her I'd give her a semester off before I bug her again to help out again. We'll see. And then there were people talking about maker spaces last year. We had Rovi Brandon, another former IST student who's a vice provost at Washington. He talked about alternative credentials, lifelong learning, inclusive ed, and outreach. I think Bob would be very interested in that. Anything that Rovi's written or what he said there. He's written about the 60-year curriculum and how universities have to move to think about lifelong learning and so forth. Shireen Farouk is another IST alum working in the corporate sector, and Bob might find her fascinating. We had 2 recordings with her last year. She's a executive vice president and head of digital skills development and corporate training and retraining and upskilling. Trying to get her on my podcast show. She also talked about, female empowerment and inclusive workforce. And so she gave a special talk at IU in the School of Ed last year, and then gave a talk for this class or spoke to this class.
Was that the one when you were at AECT with her?
No, this was the one where I was, I think, in the hotel lobby at the Hyatt place, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
And I don't know, the audio, I don't know if it was okay, but
it was fine.
Yeah, okay. The other one was even better, were recorded in the normal recording studio stuff. There's 2 in there. The 1 week I deleted this semester was the week on youth participatory action research from University of Colorado, having high school kids do action research in their communities. I think it's an important week, but it was the 1 week that people suggested I could delete because we had a lot of stuff, and we had one of the founders of that program come in last year. His name is Ben Kirshner. He's a great guy. The articles are excellent. I just had to give up something, and I hate to give up something anytime. But if you're interested in high school youth getting involved in project-based learning or problem-based learning, let me know, and I'll send you the links you can read those articles. That's totally fine. You can read whatever you want. Week 9, my friend Hee-Jung An from William Patterson is a STEM person or STEAM person, science, technology, education, art, and math. She does robot, interactive kinds of learning scenarios. So students design robots and create videos around them, action research stuff. Then we had EdTech Books guys on. So EdTech Books is a free resource. I don't think Bob knows about this site. So if you click the EdTech Books, well, this is the video link, but you can get, in my 511 class, all these free books for instructional design for learning, design, technology, professional career development. Oh, and my books are at EdTech Books. So if you type in EdTech Books, one word, maybe Bo can type it in the chat window. Give us the link, Bo, and then you can take a look for, they're having hundreds of thousands of downloads of these books. Instead of paying publishers $50 or $100 for a stupid little book, you can get it for free now. So, why not, right? So, we interviewed them last year. The audio didn't work that well, but I interviewed them again last semester and interviewed them in my podcast show. So there's multiple links that I can send you if you're interested. Then we had Tony Bates, week 11. Now, Tony's almost 80 years old and still he's trying to retire. No one will let him. He's got this book, The Digital Student. He's got a free book. I think it's called The Digital Learner or The Digital Student that tons and tons of people have downloaded. He's got a new version. He's in Vancouver, Canada, although he's a fellow in Toronto at a smaller university, Ryerson, I think he's at. And I met him there a few years back. Very smart person. In-Sung Jung was also that week last year. In-Sung's a grad of IST from a long time ago, and her husband too. In-Sung developed a new instrument called open learning to evaluate the openness of people's minds to learning something new. So she's got a scale she developed, and she presented on that scale, but she's done many things, especially in this area of blended learning. And she's got a chapter in my blended handbook. She's retired from Japan, International Christian University, but not really retired. She's moved back to Korea and doing research there. Michael Spector is a pretty famous guy in IST. At AECT, they have an award in his name. He's that famous. He's at the University of North Texas talking about smart technologies. And then Ray Schroeder was last week, as Bo pointed out. So those are some of the people from last year. So if you don't like some of the guests from this year, you can just watch one from last year, or you can do assignments around that. And so you'll notice the assignments in here. First of all, online moderator. You have to be a moderator once during the semester, I think it is, but participate as well. That's the one problem people have in online courses is they procrastinate a bit. And so it's hard to catch up if you get weeks behind. You can turn in things a couple of days late. There's no late things in here, but not 12 weeks late, not 6 weeks. Try and keep up within a reasonable, I'm not going to look whether you posted something on Sunday or Monday or Tuesday or next week. Just do it and don't worry about the days, but try and get it within a reasonable time. Okay. The worst you can do is to wait till the last minute, and it does happen. Another thing, a problem, make sure your name's on your papers. 25% of people who take my classes don't put their names, 25, maybe 20. They don't put their names on the paper. It's hard figuring out who is this work, it drives me nuts. So, but we'll figure it out. And then, we've got one assignment for the midterm, September 18th, is to critique a learning environment. Critique a learning environment. Maybe it's a military training setting, maybe it's a new tech high school, maybe it's a museum for children, whatever it is. And then create a skeleton of one for, and so if you don't want to do 3A, you can do 3B. This is, listening to my podcast show and reflecting on it. You can do 3C, something else, a voluntary assignment. And then the task 4, which leads to task 5. Task 4 is a little piece of task 5. So you're turning in your work. Basically, you've, 3 pages of something. I guess it's what we're calling for. And the 3rd page is an appendix. And so and then the super summary at the end on November 13th, I want you to summarize what you learned from your readings, from your interactions, from your projects, from the videos. What did you learn? And then here's the schedule. And as I said, week 1 is kind of thick. We got a lot of stuff, and these are important people. John Brancher is probably one of the most important people in the field. He died last summer, unfortunately, but he wrote a book called How People Learn, and that book is free. And now there's a new book called How People Learn Part 2, which they use in a course called P540 Learning Theories course. And so it's got chapters from folks around the world on different aspects of learning and cognition. and like metacognition or self-regulated learning, you know, prior knowledge or whatever it is. They have chapters on it, study skills, whatever. That's number 3. Don't read that whole book. You'll just read a chapter from it if you pick that, or read 2 chapters. You know, I'm not expecting you to read everything. Pick 3 chapters a week or 3 articles a week, maybe 4, maybe 5. Pete Hohenbein, number 5 there, was a guest last year in one of my classes, in my 511 class, and he's an instructor in IST. He teaches for us on the side. He's living in Reno, Nevada, as a consultant, as a professor. And he skis. He goes snow skiing and all sorts of stuff. He's an interesting person. Susan Land, number 6, and Mike Hannafin have really great articles and really great ideas in student-centered learning environments. And so that might be worth looking at as well. Number 2 there is another Hannafin article, Student-Centered Open Learning Environments. Again, with Susan Land and Janet Hill, and my former, well, what should have been my student, she went to Georgia, Unbei Lee, a good friend from Korea. Jan Harrington, number 1, Ron Oliver, my colleague Tom Reeves, who's done 3 books with me, including MOOCs and Open Education in the Global South. Tom Reeves is from Georgia. The other 2 are from Western Australia. They are well known for authentic learning. And Jan Harrington has a free website on authentic learning environments. So she's a big name. So lots of big names in that first week of stuff. I'm kind of surprised I put so many people in there. And the Silver Lining for Learning show that week is with Paul Kim, Rethinking Education with Great Questions. It's a really great show. I highly recommend you listen to Paul Kim, but he'll be here on September 4th or something like that. On week 2, I don't have as much stuff, but one of the most important articles in the field is Article 2 by John Seeley Brown, Alan Collins, and Paul DeGood. It changed education. That article on situated cognition changed education from no longer thinking about context-less learning to think about context-filled learning. We all learn in a context, in a social cultural context. It really brought Vygotsky's ideas to life. Lev Vygotsky was a Russian scholar who talked about learning on a social plane first with others, and then you learn intrapsychologically. You first learn interpsychologically, move to the intra after. Well, that article kind of sets the stage for moving us from behavioral approaches and cognitive approaches to much more complex forms of learning. So I highly recommend Article 2. The Silver Lining for Learning of that week is with David Wiley, who's kind of like the founder of open education, or open textbooks in particular, open schools, open high school of Utah he developed. He's a very interesting guy. He was the president of ACT last year, and he's a good friend. I would take a look at that. You see, or listen to that. You see Tom Brush's Article 1 and Article 3 for week 3. There are others in here. My good friend Mikkel Formanith, he's in Norway. He's a Russian guy in Norway doing immersive learning. He's developing AI, augmented reality tools that are open access. The software is open access, and he gave a demo in one of my classes 2 years ago. I could bring him back. He's a young guy. He's very, very interesting. He's can do really cool stuff, but I may save him when I'm teaching emerging learning technologies again and bring them next semester, I think. You'll see there's 3 videos I have in here on transformative schools and transformative education. The August 5th, 2023, the Human Restoration Project. 2 teachers in Kansas and Ohio quit their jobs to become consultants to do teacher professional development. And they titled their organization, their consulting company, the Human Restoration Project. That's very interesting. They were very cool guys. So yeah, you'll see these transforming education podcasts that we had in week 3. Justin Whiting and Seth Martinez are alums of IST, and they talk about informal learning. Justin was my student. Seth was somebody else's. Seth is now a professor at Boise State, and Justin's working in the hospitals of Utah. Christine Greenhall, Article 3, she'll be with us, but a lot later in the semester. She just confirmed today that she'll be coming. Article 4, Krista Kozuski, our former department chair. She's now at North Carolina State University. She left us a month ago or weeks ago. Article 7, Kurt Squire, you'll see his name. He's probably one of the smartest IST students I've ever had in class. He's a really deep critical thinker. His wife, Constance Steinkuhler, studies World of Warcraft. He studied civilization, online gaming tools for his dissertation. He's a gaming expert, or using aspects of gaming to change education. His wife got hired by the Obama administration. Barack Obama sequestered her and had her come to DC, and she had to leave her professor job for a year to try and get the whole United States gamified in K-12 education. Well, it didn't happen, but she's still pretty well known. They're both well known. They're at UC Irvine, not too far from where Bob lives. So Bob, you guys should visit them. The video, the podcast number 11, one of my favorites of all time. Then number 12, 13, all three of those are my favorites. So Lucky Breaking the Ice. This is an interview with Cassandra Brooks, who's a professor at Colorado, Boulder. But she, when I met her, was a master's student in Antarctica studying the Chilean sea bass and the krill underneath the ocean, and how they're being fished away, and how she's trying to save the last ocean of the world, the Arctic Ocean. It's fascinating. She's created a stop motion video of her journey to Antarctica, and she's been 3 or 4 times. I met the captain of her ship when I went to San Francisco a few years ago. She created a stop motion video that's been shown 1 million times from on CNN. It's been, you know, and then these Nepali high school kids learning English. They're learning English from MOOCs and then hundreds of other courses. This is my study. I'm interviewing these Nepali high school kids, these 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 15. They're incredible on how they self-directed their own learning during the pandemic. And now they're using their MOOCs as credentials to get into US colleges. They're starting to apply to Princeton and Harvard and all sorts of things. So I've got 2 studies. One's going to be published in December. One's in review right now of these Nepali kids and their teachers. We interviewed teachers too. Then outreach of the penguins. There's a teacher who gets a National Science Foundation grant to study Adelie penguins in Antarctica and send her videos to kids in schools around the world and curriculum. She designs K-12 curriculum for kids, and then they do the assignments. She has hundreds of schools and so forth. And we interviewed her. And these are all in, was that week 4? I don't even realize I had, that's chock full of great stuff. And if you were on my Monday class, you're watching this, I didn't talk about any of this stuff on Monday. Week 5, we come back to Jan Harrington on authentic learning. We talked to Tom Rees again on action-based, design-based research, and his colleague, Christiane Riley. I almost brought her as a guest, the 2 of them actually. Tom's been a guest many, many, many times in here. We got Brian Beatty, my former student, talking about high flex course design. Brian's at San Francisco State University. He designed high flex model where you can combine face-to-face and online. The students choose which way they want every week. They can change their minds every week. So that's getting us, you know, and then week 6 on corporate stuff. And I recommended Article 6. That's the Pixar president. The president of Pixar worked with Steve Jobs to develop Pixar, and the philosophy behind Pixar is creativity. And that is his book, Creativity Inc., is probably one of the best books I've read in my life, especially in the past 10 years. So definitely take a look at that. My friend Brovie Brandon is in Article 9, or the podcast, the 60-year curriculum. You can listen to Rovie Brandon talk about that. Then we get into workspace. So we'll have IU people come in to talk about workspaces. All the articles from that week are IU. Indiana U is very active in creating engaging learning environments. And so my former TA, Merve Bastigan, she was the TA when Bob took my Saturday class. She left for Texas Tech last Thursday. So she's no longer in Bloomington. She's now a professor, tenure track. I'm happy for her. But you can see, again, I don't want to go on and on too much. I can talk about these next time in different articles. So I think I might stop there. But I should just briefly mention this week 9. Week 9 on mindfulness. We had a podcast on mindfulness and creativity. Arizona State has a couple of people who are doing research on mindfulness and mindful high schools, and they've created a new there's a K-8 school, and we interviewed them on it. So you'll see a podcast down here, mental health, mindfulness, and the movement towards social emotional learning. That's Dana Hendrickson and her colleague, Natalie Gruber, her doc student. They're creating new schools and they're doing research on it. And every month or every issue of Tech Trends, which you may get if you become a member of AECT, you get Tech Trends free automatically. Their first article is a creativity article where they interview a creativity expert. And it's usually Dana Hendrickson, Natalie Gruber, and my podcast partner, Punya Mishra, every month, every issue. Fascinating stuff. I really do think. So, so yeah, we've done a lot of creativity episodes in Silver Lining for Learning. Yeah, micro learning. Yeah, so week 10's on micro learning. Week 11. So this is the week I moved up because people started saying we're really interested in this week. So I'm bringing in Christine Greenhow, Article 1. I'm trying to get Peter Shea, Article 2. I got Article 3, Jared Burrup's coming in, and I might have more. So for sure, those 3 are going to talk to us later in the semester. Designing learning environments. Chris Deedy will be coming in early in the semester, but he has an article in week 12. Just came out. This article is summarizing what MIT, Harvard, and Stanford reported post-pandemic. Let me repeat that. MIT, Harvard, and Stanford all had reports, big reports, on what happened during the pandemic and how they're going to change curriculum at MIT, Harvard, and Stanford post-pandemic. Well, what Chris Deedy did is he brought them into our podcast show to, number 1, to talk to them. Number 2, he wrote an article that just came out a week ago about those 3 reports. Okay, he summarized the 3 reports. Very short, it's easy to read. So that's in your syllabus, and he'll talk about that article. So I hope we can come up with questions for him and so forth. Yeah, so Jared Burrup and Joan Kang-shin, they're at George Mason, and I've been a visiting fellow at George Mason this year, and Jared Burrup's going to come in and talk to us about different articles that he's written, including this community of inquiry instrument that they've developed and revised. So that would be really cool. Again, more stuff on engagement. And so I've synthesized, or I edited 2 special journal issues with my former student, Vanessa Denon at Florida State, and Florence Martin at NC State. Both introduction articles are in week 12 of those special issues. You'll see number 6 in there. I think we have the other one in here too, or it's somewhere else in here. But week 13, we get smarter learning environments. People in Asia and Korea, Taiwan, China, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, they're all talking about smart learning. And they actually have created there's a couple smart journals. I've just got an article on Duolingo accepted for a smart journal. Well, no one can define what smart learning is, but they all like the word smart. Now they're all fixating on AI. Nobody really knows what it's going to do, but they sometimes people throw out terminology and then they, especially the word smart. I've seen the word smart used, and I'm not sure if it's making us any smarter. Oh, there's the EdTech Books, number 8 there, EdTech Books podcast we had. Okay. Another one from Chris Deedy and from Lydia Cao. They did a great article talking about generative AI, and it's a short article. It's a thoughtful article. Lydia will be talking to us about that and other kinds of things, and Chris will as well. Then we have Ray Schroeder's article, number 9 and 10, and so forth. In week 15, we get into trends, other trends, another Ray Schroeder article. Oh, we hear from Stephen Downs on connectivism, another topic. I think I'll stop sharing. I've chatted a while more than I expected tonight. Normally I would do a breakout group and and get people to talk in breakout groups, but we do have enough for breakout groups. I think we'll do that for about 5 minutes. So 2 things I want to do in a breakout group. 1, what's interesting in the syllabus. 2, what's confusing in the syllabus. That's all. And 3, should I change anything? Is there any, or should I add anything? Okay. So what I'm going to do is create a breakout group. I'm going to pause the recording first. Okay, go ahead. Dr. Carlin's story.
So my first project for him for that course, we were just doing a basic web page that we designed, and it had to, I think, include tables in it. And so I created one that was going to have all of the upcoming tour dates for the current edition of the Grateful Dead, the Dead and Company, on there. And I told my mom about it, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, your teacher's gonna fail you just because of that." And I turned it in, and he said that his mom and dad were big Grateful Dead fans, and that he actually has a tattoo on his back.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, jackpot, yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I got a better Grateful Dead story. So Lena, Grateful Dead is a popular American rock group that started in the late 60s in San Francisco. And, you know, people in the streets in San Francisco, Haight and Ashbury is where they live, in the corner. And actually, I got a picture with a shirt like that on.
I saw that.
Yeah, I may still have that somewhere. But when I got my master's degree and my PhD, you know, we bought a house, and you know, it was not cheap getting a house as a grad student. So one guy, he hadn't finished his master's yet. Now, his name is Paul Smith. Said, "Paul, you can come live with me, and I'll just charge you a little bit of rent, not a lot, and you can finish your master's. You just live at my house, you know, no problem. I'd make some money, pay for the house." Well, the whole semester he lived at my house, he went and followed the Grateful Dead all over the place and played guitar in his room. He never once met his advisor to finish his master's degree, you know, and so until the day I kicked him out, I said, "Finally, Paul, you got to go." You know, at the end, after 4 months, 5 months, I said, "Paul, you got to go. You know, it's time's up. You haven't done anything." And that day, he went to go meet with his advisor to finish his master's degree. Anyhow, so anything else come out, Bo?
Just the initial reaction to the syllabus and everything tonight.
Yeah.
Just it was a lot, but
Yeah.
it was exciting. I think we were all in agreement that you know, we said that we would rather have too much than too little, and so that was nice to see as well.
Yeah.
The wealth of resources was great, and stuff, and I think that we were all just excited to kind of get the semester rolling here. Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, the syllabus is built on the shoulders of the previous instructors, so I have to give them credit. You know, Dr. Parker and Dr. Brush created this. Dr. Appleman designed the course 20 years ago, and I always thought it'd be a great course to teach. I never, you know, I was back in Ed Psych when he created it, and I said, "Bob, this is a really nice." Dr. Appleman was a faculty in the program. I said, he went by Dr. Bob. "Dr. Bob, this is great, you know, and someday I want to teach this course." Well, now I am, you know, so it may have taken 15 to 20 years, but, you know, now I am, and so I'm happy to do it. Again, for those of you who are maybe come to 10 synchronous sessions and you miss one, just watch the recording, write a reflection of a paragraph on it, and that's all you have to do. Yuhan, real briefly, where are you from and what are your interests?
I'm originally from China. I'm in Boston now. My professional interest is really around learning experience design, design ethics, and the practice. Anything around online learning as well. And of course, recently everyone is talking about generative AI, how that might impact, you know, learning experience design and just in general the way we work, we learn, and we live.
Well, ask Niles Floor when he comes in. He's the one who coined learning experience design.
I know. I actually went to the conference he hosted.
Okay.
It was an online conference. It was really nice. A very compact event, but there were some really good sessions. I know he wrote a book on learning experience design as well. And there has been a debate on whether, you know, there's, you know, the term learning experience design is significantly different from learning design, instructional design. You know, I'm interested in learning more about that as well.
So where was the conference?
It was online. I think it was online. Yeah. If you go to their website, lxd.org, I think it was very affordable.
I will let you ask the first question when he comes in, but it has to be a good one. Any of those. Claudio, where are you from and you know, what are you into?
Yeah, I'm originally from Arequipa, Peru.
I moved here to the United States 11 years ago. I'm located right now in
Dallas,
Dallas,
right? Or to
Dallas.
Dallas. Yeah.
Yes. I've been teaching 18 years of my life. I was a professor in Castleton University in Vermont, then West Virginia University, then Arkansas State University.
I was a
And now,
professor at West Virginia University too.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we talk about this, I remember. Yes.
They're closing programs now, right and left. Their language programs closing down.
Yes, we have been signing up some forums and trying to help that program going on. And so we'll see what happens over there. And also, I'm very interested in training new professors in K-12 higher education, and very into the community of inquiry right now, keeping the teaching presence and all of that, in online, and very interested in that, yes.
Hopefully, I'm going to have Dr. Shea from University of Albany. Dr. Peter Shea is a good friend. He wrote an article on community inquiry, and hopefully October 30th, the day before Halloween, I'm going to bring him in.
That will be
what we're going to see.
perfect.
Emmanuel, you told me your background, but real quickly, can you tell the rest of them?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, so I started my journey in this field back in 2000. I went to the University of Virginia. I'm from Virginia. I live in Roanoke, Virginia specifically. I studied cognitive science undergrad at the University of Virginia, and then this is 2003. And then I went to Virginia Tech and graduated from the instructional design technology program in 2004. And I've been basically in the field since then. I have a mix of like e-learning developer type skills and instructional design. Currently, I'm a supervisor of a team of instructional designers for a K-12 company called Power School that does K-12 software. And so we develop curriculum for in-person and online. So I'm really excited about the class.
Does anyone want to comment on anything they've heard? Have any connections to anyone's introduction? Or a question for anyone else? If not, I'll say, next week I may decide to do a short lecture before the guest comes in. So I'm going to work that out. It'll either be before or after. I'm going to try the big picture a little bit, about learning environments and designing effective learning environments. I'm thinking, I haven't really thought about my role every week in here and how we'll play it off, but we'll have a guest in here every week. Some weeks we're going to spend where we're preparing questions for the guests for next week. So we're going to everyone will read a page of their article, and everyone will come up with a question to ask of the guest for next week. That's one thing that we will do in these sessions, these synchronous sessions. So we know we have something of substance to ask of these somewhat pretty famous people. I don't want to bring them in here and not have any questions for them. So that will be, I'll present. In a couple of weeks, we might analyze instruments. There's an instrument for online learning, teaching and learning, for motivation in online learning, and a couple others I'm going to try and have us look at and maybe redesign it. So again, thank you for coming. Week 1, orientation number 2, and this is the 4th orientation in a row. 4 nights, 4 orientations, each one an hour and 45 minutes long, and I am brain fried at the end here after designing these 2 syllabi. But again, we'll be refining our R622 syllabus a little bit more with the guests that I'm adding or changing and so forth. Recommendations, send me an email. Problems, send me or Bo an email. We'll both respond on things. So that's why Bo's here. That's why I'm here. We're here to make sure that you're not cognitively in a state of dissonance. We want to make sure that you're in a state of flow. Okay? Here's to that. And have a good semester, everybody. I'm stopping the recording right now, going to the